What's going on? And welcome. It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. You're in your rig. Maybe you're on I-84. You're planning a beautiful Boise weekend. And you're kicking that weekend off right here on Idaho Sports Talk. Big thanks. I got my man Bob Beeler filling in for Mike Prater. Prater will be back on Monday. Bob, this show's rolling right along. We're at our 5 o'clock segment. By the way, our Dollar Loan Center video segment. So shout out to all of our people watching this on our YouTube channel. That'll be up there a little later as well. But let's get after it. Another hour, Bob. Still we go. Yeah, any big weekend plans, man? What are you doing?
None this weekend. And actually, that's
nice?
kind of nice sometimes.
So nice, man.
Yeah.
I'm a none weekend plan guy. I think I might wash my car in my driveway tomorrow, but I'll easily be able to talk myself out of that. But that right now is kind of all I have. And I'm hoping that my Mariners can play well against the Astros, the Kentucky Derby. I'm wearing my beloved Seattle Slew t-shirt today in honor of the Derby and my favorite Triple Crown winner ever, and I'm ready to go.
I think I'll probably watch the Derby.
Yep.
And I think I might mow the lawn.
Okay, yeah.
That's it. Obviously watch the Giants.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's get after it. 208-424-9300. Your thoughts. Can NIL help bowl participation? There was an article today on CBSSports.com. Bob and I read this. We've talked about this. We went every which way on it. And now we want to kind of unwrap this thing and talk a little bit, Bob. NIL, the problem with the bowl season, and here we go. 431 FBS college football players last year did not play in their bowl game when they could have. They opted out. 431 total players, 78 players opted out because they said they wanted to get ready for the NFL draft. Okay, that's a whole nother group. The 78 opt-outs, I get it. They want to go play in the pros. The 431, they did it to go into the portal, Bob. They thought they had to get there quicker in case, think Taylon Green here in Boise, Idaho, essentially what he did. This article we read, again, can NIL somehow, some way save the non-CFP bowl games, the Potato Bowl, the Gator Bowl, whatever, and get more player participation? I don't know, Bob, by opening their checkbook a little bit. What are your thoughts on this, bud?
Well, the first one is you talk about, Taylon Green didn't play because of the, going in the transfer portal. And UCLA's best player was a first-round draft pick, Lombardi winner, Laiatu Latu. He decided not to play either, and he was rewarded by being a first-round choice of the Indianapolis Colts. But as far as the team goes, Florida State lost over 30 players, 30 guys on their roster once they didn't get invited to the CFP, chose not to suit up against Georgia, some because of the draft, some because they wanted to transfer. So, some bowl games get hit a lot harder than others. I think on the surface, Johnny, and we look at bowl games, they're sort of an extra exhibition. I think the idea of saying that we're going to give you something for your name, image, and likeness to play in a bowl game, on the surface, I think would get some people to play that may not. But I think the big question comes in, you've got guys leaving for different reasons. How much would you have to put in there to get somebody to change their mind and play? Latu, who is holding himself out because he knows he's going to be a first-round pick and has had some injury issues earlier in his career when he's at Washington, I think that number would be a lot higher than somebody that might just want to delay the opportunity to go into the transfer portal.
So I get what you're saying. So the answer to our question, can NIL help bowl participation? I think both of us are saying yes, it absolutely can. But, and this is a big Sir Mix-a-Lot baby got back sized butt, Bob. And that for me is, first off, I'll use the Potato Bowl as an example.
Okay.
I don't see any way in hell the Potato Bowl is going to be able to come up with enough cash for certainly star players, but all players, enough to make it kind of worth their while, right? That's where this thing rubs me the wrong way. Like, for example, is Taylon Green going to stay and play in the LA Bowl last year for $1,000? Probably not. So I don't know how they're going to figure out how the NIL, where the money is going to go. You know, if they said, hey, you're going to get, $200,000 total for the bowl game, that's 100 grand each team, and they can decide how they disperse the 100 grand to their players. And if there's a situation, again, like last year, and the coaching staff can say, yeah, we got it, Taylor Green, you're going to go in the portal. That's okay. But we want to win this game. We're playing UCLA. It's a Pac-12 team. We want to win it. We don't want to start a dude who's taken 3 snaps. What if we gave you, I don't know, 10 grand to stay and start and play in this bowl game and then get in the portal the day after? We still want to win this thing. Maybe a 10 grand would be enough for a player to say, especially if they're not going to the league, they're going to another school, they're going to the portal. I mean, guys get hurt. Injuries aren't as big a deal as they were before with modern medicine. Maybe a player would say, you know what, I'll roll the dice. I'll play in the game. I want my 10 grand and then I will leave. Maybe that's an option. What do you guys think? 208-424-9300 on the Double Tap Pub hotline. We'll take texts as well. But yeah, can NIL help bowl participation? It looks like, Bob, we're going to get this bowl system. There's going to be the playoff, and then there's still going to be the traditional bowl games, and they stink now. Players don't play. Again, 431 players on bowl-eligible teams last year said, nope, we're not going to play. We'd rather go to the portal. So that's my thought. I don't know if there's enough money, Bob, to convince the big stars to stay and play in the New Mexico Bowl, eh?
Well, I mean, how many big stars are you talking about in some of those bowl games? I mean, we had Mac, there was a defensive lineman or a defensive end a few years ago in the Potato Bowl. Josh Allen played, who was going to be a first-round pick. So you're probably not looking in some of these bowls at more than maybe 1 or 2 players. You wonder, maybe you hear players all the time wanting to get like insurance policies against injury. Maybe the bowls or the when we say the bowls, we kind of mean ESPN as well, because they own probably 3/4 of the non-playoff bowls. Maybe a cash, incentive in addition to maybe certain players would get a certain insurance policy that if they got hurt in the game that they would be able to collect on as well.
Should NIL help bowl participation by finding a way to pay the players? 208-424-9300. Bob's in for Prater. What about this? I mean, the school in this could also, Bob, choose not to pay players maybe they know are leaving anyway, right? There's an element to that, like, hey, Taylor Green, hey, coach, I'll play in your bowl game, but I'm going to need, I talked to my team, my agent, my parents, I'm going to need 15 grand. Well, TG10, we have 100 grand to go throughout the entire team. Hasta la vista, baby. CJ Tiller, you're up. That type of deal. Maybe they could work out there where, I don't know, it would be the school's choice on there. Well, I mean, those are kind of the cons, I'm thinking.
One of the things I saw was if we ever get to a position where the university is controlling the NIL money a little bit more than it is now, or we get to a situation where players are actually being paid as workers, it would probably be considered part of the contract where you'll play the full season and it isn't as optional as it is now because you're student athletes. There's no contract that says you'll play, the 12 games in the regular season, the conference championship, and then the bowl game for a 14th game. So I do think that giving the players something is probably a better way to make sure they show up for those games than it is. The question is how much and what you would do to entice.
Yeah, and how you're going to distribute the money. 208-424-9300. I think that's a big thing too.
So if you have 85 guys on scholarship, and if you're going to just give it across the board, and you will use your money, Johnny, you said 100,000. It would be approximately somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 if each one of those 85 guys got the same.
Scholarship,
so about $1,000.
Let's say scholarship players only.
Yeah, and they would get somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500. I think if my math is right, if you had $100,000 pool to be split up by 85 people.
The only question I would have, and I love it, good for the players, but most of those players are going to play in that bowl game regardless if you pay them or not. They're still going to play. They're still going to, they love their program. They want to play again. They want to win a stinking bowl game. I bet there's Boise State fan driving in their car right now saying, yeah, that bowl game last year sucked. We won the Mountain West championship game. We should have had a cooler experience in the postseason than starting a redshirt quarterback in a game that, we didn't have much of a chance in. They struggled to move the ball, and a lot of it was because they had a quarterback that, dang it, he wasn't ready for that, and he's admitted that. But that type of situation.
But to be fair, UCLA had people out too, and I think in most games, if you look at the two teams, probably somebody of consequence was held out from both sides. Question is, did somebody like in the Georgia-Florida State game, Georgia had virtually no one sit out. I think there was 2 or 3, and Florida State had over 30. Well, that's how you get 66-3.
And here's the other thing about the UCLA team. They were 6-6. They didn't just come off a Mountain West championship game. Mm-hmm. I mean, their fan base that ship had sailed. UCLA at that point, if you're a 6-6 bowl game, they didn't really care anyway. I was just saying for Boise State, who was loving that situation, winning a Mountain West championship, and then wanting to say, okay, what's next? We just won the Mountain West title. Okay, let's go kick ass and win a bowl game. But you're strapped starting a quarterback who doesn't know how to play yet. Mm-hmm. If you do have money, maybe. And what do you guys think? How much? How could you get your star players at that level to stay and say, you know what? I'll wait. Because, Bob, you don't have to go to the portal right after the week 12 game or the Mountain West championship game. There's not a time limit, but players, I get it. They want to get in there first so they can get the first choice, all that stuff. Well, you don't want to wait. But if there's $10,000, maybe even $5,000, maybe you would be willing to risk that. Let's get to the Double Tap Pub hotline. Mike, you're first up. Appreciate the call. Mike, you want to get in on this? Get in on it. Hey, Mike, you're up. Yeah. 208-424-9300. I'm going to blame JP on that one. Yeah, that's my that's my take on that one, Bob. Like, I don't know. I love the idea of being able to pay these kids for the bowl game. Love it. I don't know where the money's going to come from. I don't know how much you're going to have. And I don't know if it's going to be enough to convince that team's best player, or, like, for example, say, let's use the Potato Bowl again. They get the MAC here, right? It's Toledo. Say Toledo has a really good quarterback, and he's going to be in the portal, and he's going to go to the SEC or the Big Ten. We all know it. He's the best quarterback in the MAC since Ben Roethlisberger, right? Mm-hmm. And he's a true freshman. What's the Potato Bowl going to be able to do to ensure that dude plays in the bowl game rather than hopping in the portal and saying, yeah, Georgia Bulldogs, I'm ready whenever you need me? What's it going to take?
Each kid would have a number, but I'll bet you everybody out there might have a number. The kid that's going to go into the draft, that's going to be a top, 10 pick, may not have a number, or it may be way too high. But I'll bet everybody else would have a number. It may be an unrealistic number, but I'll bet you somebody would have a number.
208-424-9300. Appreciate Dollar Loan Center. They've funded loans for 25 years. Visit don'tbebroke.com. 16 locations soon coming in Idaho. Don'tbebroke.com. Appreciate the love from the Dollar Loan Center. Let's get back to the officiating. And I'm going to ask you this, because Bob right now says baseball officiating is bugging him more than anything. What sport right now for you has the biggest issue when it comes to officiating? 208-424-9300. Let's have some fun on a Friday. JP, get us out of here.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios.